That'd be very, very
Hi,
good.
everybody. We're about
Hopefully
to
from
begin
here on
today's
out it'll be.
sessions. The topic, for those of you who are new, we do all kinds of stuff about happiness, peace, learning how to transform your mind, how to be peaceful. And the topic for tonight is about a kind of mental training called single-pointed awareness, like how to be super aware and concentrated, and then also all the ways that can help make your life better. How to just like stop anything that's in your mind that's not helping you. How to like notice moods or thoughts you're having that aren't helping or that are helping, and how to crank up the good stuff and stop the stuff that's not helping. So anyway, the tradition that we have here, I'm going to ring the bell. We're going to line up and we're going to enter the temple, kind of make a sacred moment for yourself. This is you making something really good for you. So bow as you go in, just like, hey, I'm making this space, this time for me. If you want to have a moment with the enlightened being at the back, imagine your best self or the goodness inside everybody or something else awesome for yourself. You are welcome to do that. And then we just grab a cushion. All right, so I'm going to ring the bell and then let's all line up.
Hello.
I'm coming in here. Perfect.
So I just invite every one of us while we're into the space, just slow your breathing, calm your mind, think about the peace, the happiness, the strength that you want to cultivate.
Try not to do that, please. That's kind of annoying.
All right, and as the others join us, they can make their way in. So we're going to start with our dedication, which is just setting that intention. Why are you here? Why are you taking some time? Maybe you're curious about philosophy. Maybe you want to learn to meditate. Maybe you want to bring more peace to your life or more happiness. Maybe there's been something that's been bothering you and maybe you want to learn more patience. Could someone go out and stop that? Thanks. But I invite you to also ask, perhaps there's something more of why you're here. If there's someone who's blocked me who's doing that, can you guys kick them out, please?
I mean, I was gonna suggest something. It wouldn't be the best idea, I guess. Everyone's on PC though, so it would work. So it's kind of just gonna crash him if he keeps on doing that. I don't usually do that, but he's getting really annoying at this point.
I think the right thing to do is just to kick them out of the world, but I can't see the person who's doing it. So can someone kick him?
It's the first person you
So he has an invisible avatar that can hide his name tag. Basically, it goes under the ground and it hides his name tag, basically, so he can.
Well, anyway, let's keep going with the session. I'm going to just keep saying what I was saying.
Yeah.
I didn't
You should be able to find them in the social menu. It's the first person you've invited.
Yeah. That's everybody here. I think they've left now. So to everybody on the live stream, sorry about that. To everybody who's here in the temple, it's great to have you guys. Feel free to invite people. And those of you who are on the live stream, I can actually see if anyone chats on YouTube or Facebook or whichever platform, or Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you write in on the live stream, I'll see it and we can engage.
I think I want to invite her.
So yeah, just as part of the opening ritual, we normally have this this intention setting. So I was saying, perhaps you're here to find some peace or some happiness, or you'd like to learn some philosophy that could be helpful. But I also invite you to maybe look a little deeper. Perhaps you could transform your mind in a way that might make the rest of your life better. Perhaps you could cultivate some kind of change in perspective that would help lots of people. Maybe you like the idea of a world where everyone is kind, where everybody's thoughtful, and you could dedicate this time that you practice in yourself to be an agent of someone who makes that world. So just let's all take a couple of deep breaths and find your best intention to make really the most positive enthusiasm for what you're going to practice and contemplate today. So I wanted to talk today about a form of meditation practice or mental training that can be described as single-pointed awareness. But actually the real reason I wanted to talk about this is the ability for every one of you to be able to really notice all the time, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you wanting? What do you have aversion against? And rather than just being pushed around by these thoughts and wants, like think about it, most of the time you think, I want this, and then you just want it. Or you're upset by something, and then you're just upset by it. But if instead of being caught up in those thoughts, instead of being pushed around by them, if you just notice those thoughts or those feelings happening, then they don't have to push you around anymore. So that's my first big intention for today, is to help everybody to be more aware of their consciousness instead of being pushed around by it. And then my second big intention is that there are kinds of meditations where you kind of just make a bit of space between the thoughts and you learn to chill a bit. But what I want to share today is like creating a complete separation and being able to stop. So say, for example, someone's upset you. And there could be the practice of like, oh, okay, I'm going to chill. It's all right. But actually, what I want to get us all practicing or cultivating today is the idea of instantly just being perfectly okay. And there's many layers to that as well. Yes, you can apply mental control to loads of stuff. It's like, oh, I'm craving that unhealthy food. Boom, I'm not. Oh, something upset me. Boom, I'm not. Ah, I've got this bad habit I believe in. Boom, I'm not. Like, you can apply it to all kinds of areas of your life. But there's also many levels. So, you might, I don't know, you might be going through a rough patch in your life. And so you've had lots of some kind of feeling. And when you practice mindfulness, you can notice that feeling and calm it down. But there's many layers to that feeling. You might have been practicing that feeling for weeks or even years. And so the kind of awareness and stopping that I want us to be contemplating is also to be aware of those like ingrained habits and be able to just stop them. And they might arise again, but as soon as they do, you notice and you stop them. And so you're like training this freedom, this spaciousness into yourself. Hi, welcome to anyone who's just joining us, walking into the temple or on the live stream. We have these sessions many times a week, and it's all about training our minds, training our feelings, learning attitudes and perspectives that make life easier, happier, and kinder. So, yeah, welcome. Grab a cushion. Let me just check on the live stream. Yep, welcome to everybody who's watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Fictional cat just sent everybody love heart eyes. All right, sending love hearts to everybody. Cool, good to see you here. All right. So, and Larnax now sending love heart emojis here in VR, and Solarpunk sending love hearts. To anyone on the live stream or watching this sometime in the future, I really encourage you to come into VR. Let me show you the crowd. Everybody ready to send love hearts to the audience? All right, go. It's just kind of beautiful. Be sitting here just having love hearts floating in the room. So yeah, I love you guys, and come back to me. I'll send out some love hearts too. But yeah, so as I was saying, I want to dive straight into this practice of mindfulness, single-pointed awareness, and then go with the discussion from there. So for those of you who've already practiced breathing meditation or mindfulness meditation, please try to listen to the specific thing that I'm trying to emphasize in today's practice, and try and practice this style for today. And for those of you who are new to meditation, I hope that I'll just show you each step of what we're going to do. It's going to be just a short exercise for us to then understand what we're talking about. We'll explore it a little more, and then we'll do the exercise more deeply. So what we're going to do is a breathing meditation. You see I'm pointing to my nose. I want everyone just to take a couple of breaths in and notice where you feel it the most. Now, where you put your attention in the meditation isn't so important, but for this style, having one single spot seems to be very effective. So that point where you felt the meditation the most, where you felt the breath the most, that's where we're going to hold our attention for a couple of minutes. Now, we're also going to be noticing more about our mind. When you feel that spot where the breath was, maybe you felt the temperature of the breath, or maybe you felt the feeling of the flowing of the breath. Maybe you are very aware of the position, like the difference between feeling your toes and feeling your nose, or feeling your arm, or maybe you can be aware of that spot over there. So in terms of where your attention is, there's that spot in the nose. So there's the temperature, and there's the sensations, and then there's the spot. And if you feel the breath again, you'll also notice that you can hear the breath. And you'll also notice that it feels different as you're breathing in, and the pause, and as you're breathing out. And if you look really closely, you'll see the start of the in-breath is different than the middle, is different from the end. And if you look really closely, every little moment has a different experience. So I'm going to be quiet in a minute once we're ready, and you're just going to focus all your attention onto feeling the breath, noticing every little sensation. It's like laser focused concentration on that spot. And we do that because it's training our minds to just put your attention somewhere. If you're caught up in some upset or some aversion or some feeling, if you can just bring your attention somewhere else, you learn this feeling of, hey, just let that thing go for a moment or for a minute or forever. So as we practice just focusing on the breath, it's practicing fully choosing where to put your attention. And then if you notice something else happening, it's okay. You just bring yourself back to the breath. If you notice, after a while you might notice, oh, I'm noticing how I feel inside. That's okay. Just let that be calm and just be breath. It's like more and more of your consciousness will come into the breath. If your mind wanders for a little while, great. As soon as you notice it, see how to come back to your breath as fast and powerfully as you can. All right, so we're going to start in just a second. Check your posture. Many people find that sitting up straight, pulling their shoulders back is very helpful for meditation. And check your neck and let your face relax. Close your eyes and feel that spot as the breath comes in and out. If you notice that you're still thinking any words, just turn your inner thoughts into just the sound of your breath. Like actively just be thinking. Just pulling all your attention into that spot. And those of you who have meditated a lot, your attention's really going into the point. And I invite you to shape it into the single-pointed, concentrated style of meditation. But if you're new and your mind's still wandering, you haven't really caught your attention yet, here I am, grabbing your attention. Feel that breath. Just for a minute, you're just letting everything else go. Focus on the breath. Feel it as strongly as you can, as wildly as you can. Everything else can wait till later. Just pure breathing. If you notice yourself thinking, oh, my mind's wandering, just decide to imagine your breath is your attention. Imagine that your mind is still. imagine what it would feel like for everything to feel unified. Practice learning how to steer the whole of your consciousness. If you notice yourself thinking other things, just bring that into the breath. Bring your whole self into the breath. Maybe if you shrank right down in a shrink ray and you're sitting in the hairs in your nostrils, just feeling these epic waves of breath flowing across, how wild it would be, holding on to those hairs for dear life, just putting your attention there in the nose. Then play a little game with yourself. Take your attention down into your toes and then come back to the nose as fully as you can. If you feel like moving any part of your body, imagine it being perfectly still, like your nose has just taken over your whole consciousness. We're just going to have 10 more breaths of pure breathing. Few more breaths. If you notice any subtle activity in your mind, just imagine that part of you also breathing. Your whole self is just breath. And for the last part of the exercise, just let yourself remember the moments that you're concentrated. Remember the moments that you really drew your attention into the breath. Maybe you notice just a minute of breathing change your state of mind. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes, maybe have a little stretch. Welcome, come on in, grab a seat. So for those of you who've just joined us here in the temple or on the live stream, we just did a very short breathing meditation, and we were trying to practice single pointed concentration. So for those of you who are here, I hope this description benefits you as well. We picked this one spot in our nose to really feel the breath coming in and out. You can make the breath very interesting if you look closely, but you could also look at it as like, that's super boring. Like just breathing, you're breathing all the time. So by getting your mind to do such a simple thing, it actually helps us notice all the other things that our mind is doing. And so what we practiced doing was just bringing more and more of our attention into the breath. So there's two real benefits from that. One is you're practicing being more aware of all the thoughts, the feelings, the stuff that's in your mind, how your body feels, the sound of your inner voice, that there's this kind of feeling and that kind of feeling, and that you think in images sometimes and concepts in other times and words in other times. You're just noticing how amazing your mind is. And a lot of people never stop to look at it. And even though we're focusing on the breath, it's kind of like this chance to just get out of all the other thoughts and notice what our consciousness is doing. So I hope everybody who did the breathing exercise can say, oh yeah, I definitely noticed my mind doing things. So that was one awesome practice. It's good to just then you noticed your mind, but the more you do it, the more it trains you to always notice. To notice what you're thinking, where your attention is, what your mood is. What's the mood you've been carrying for the last hour or day? How am I reacting to that? What am I expecting here? The more you train yourself to notice everything in your consciousness, the more fully empowered you can be to just choose how to be that makes you happy and at ease and peaceful and strong and awesome. Okay, so there was impact number one, practicing being aware. And for those of you who did the breathing exercise, I hope at the start I caught your attention and said, hey, let's breathe, let's concentrate. And then I let us be quiet for a little while. Did people have a moment where you noticed your mind do something else and you're like, okay, I gotta come back to my breath? Can I see a wave or a nod? A few of you, yes. Otter, that was a shake of the head. Okay, well, so when we sit, oh, that's a thumbs up. Okay, great. When we sit longer later, I really invite everybody to embrace that practice, learning how to just shift your attention back into the breath, or even focus more powerfully into the breath. I said at the start, this idea that being able to shift your attention, it can step us out of whatever's going on. Would people like me to describe more examples of how that could help, or go deeper into the ideas or the philosophy about how that can change you more deeply? Can I see a wave if people want to hear more examples?
More examples sounds good, but of course so do both.
And can I see a wave if people want to understand how that's helpful? Alright, so I'll start with how it's helpful, and then I'll go into different ways that it can help. Okay, so I'll have one example, look at how that's helpful, and then we can go over to lots of different examples. So let's just say, for example, that I have some habit that's just part of my day. Maybe as I arrive at work or at school, I'm a little nervous. Okay, so that's just what my current brain, emotions, that's the habit that it's in. Some of you can relate to that. If you don't, that's okay. You just kind of think about how this would work. So if you're not mindful, you arrive and you just do the thing. I'm a bit nervous. And then you go through and you just stay in that state of mind. But if you are mindful, you'll notice, oh, I'm thinking those kind of nervous thoughts. What are people thinking? Or I'm just just doing the feeling of like nervousness in my body, or you notice what you're doing. You might also notice the attitudes you have around people or the environment. And then you bring your attention back into a peaceful breath, and you focus on peace and calm, and then your thoughts, your attention is in peace and calm. And then from this kind of freedom, you might choose, hey, I want to go in feeling really confident. Or you might choose, I want to go in just feeling totally okay. Or you might choose, hey, I don't even need to think about feelings. I want to go in feeling really focused, like I'm going to learn and succeed. Like you're free to step out of that old habit and then choose what you want to bring your energy into instead. So that's one layer. And you can imagine if you do that every day, so for a few weeks, if you haven't let yourself practice any of the nervous feeling, then that habit will be less. And if you've been practicing feeling expressive or feeling at ease or feeling focused, then that habit will be bigger. And so the old one will fade and the new one will win. And there's more to the benefit of awareness than just that one transformation. You might also start to notice, like, this is how I carry my body. Oh, okay, well, I want to like make myself feel better. But you might also notice the attitudes that you have around learning or school or work or creativity. You might notice your mindset and then be able to go, well, what would really help me here? Okay, so that's good. You've like empowered your mind. You're feeling great. Now, some of you, when you hear that story I just said, will be imagining a little bit of help. Some of you will be imagining, oh wow, yeah, feeling really good. Some of you will be imagining like really deeply being free. And so the more we practice noticing our consciousness, the deeper the freedom can be. So if I go with the nervous example, you might be able to be like, okay, cool, I'll be feeling better. And compared to how you were feeling a week ago, you've been practicing feeling good for a week and you feel a lot better. But actually, there are other people who are wildly more calm, and your calm compared to theirs could seem nervous. So like the scope of transformation, the possibilities, just it's so big. And so as we keep practicing mindfulness, you might change from here to here and think, wow, I've totally transformed it. But you still have this like habit of like, oh, this is how I am. This is how people are. But actually, if you like free yourself a little more, you could be even more peaceful or even more confident. Maybe not just moving into the class confidently, the feeling of every thought, every part of the way you approach the day could be more at ease or more confident. It's like the awareness trickles through into every part of you. And maybe you've made it so that you're not at all nervous as you walk into the class. You've made everything great, except when there's this one person. Of course I have to be nervous around that person. They're like, wow. And then you're like, oh, cool. Okay, I'm noticing that bit. All right. That button that this person pushes doesn't help me. I'm going to transform that button. When I see that person, I become really interested. I want to learn from them. I want to talk to them. I want to have fun around them. And so, bit by bit, this awareness can help through so many layers. Now, that was all talking about the example of nervousness at the start of entering work or school. But you could see that also could affect like how you go to parties, or how you are at a sports time, or how you are walking down the street, or how you are when you talk to your family, or how you are when you give a presentation. Like, you can see that one idea applies to lots of places. And so now, given what I was just saying, that bringing awareness and transformation can go very deep and also very broad, now let's think about different examples. So you can transform nervousness into calm, into confidence, into fun. You can notice how you feel towards the people you care about, and you can shape it to be more patient, more loving, more kind. You can notice, how aware am I of them? Am I just talking at them? Am I talking with them? Am I really seeing who they are and engaging with them? Am I making my interactions as rich and beautiful as I can imagine? If you bring more awareness to yourself, you could look at how much enthusiasm you have when you exercise. How much power and creativity do you feel into your body? When you do sport, do you practice being awesome, or does a part of you practice being okay? Some of us might even practice, oh yeah, I'm uncoordinated. So noticing the attitudes and the habits that you bring into each thing you do. You can even transform. Let me quickly give a few other examples and then come to your question, Fate Magician. So you can even transform tastes. There were some foods that I used to love and some that I just thought were terrible. And then I realized that was just in my mind. And yes, I've actively practiced that I like healthy foods and foods that don't cause any suffering. But if a food is healthy and it was kind as it was produced, I now love it. Like, I used to think cantaloupe was horrible, and now it's delicious to me. And I've helped lots of people transform their attitude to different flavors to be able to love and appreciate every good food. Perhaps you already do love and appreciate every good food, and you can mindfully learn to savor your meals more or appreciate them more. So with mindfulness, not only can we change flavors, but we can change how we feel about different music and different cultures and different styles. You can crank up how much you enjoy them. You can turn down aversions. You can create healthy habits. There's many more examples, but Fate Magician, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, first, sorry, this is my first time here. I don't mean to interrupt. I want to
Oh
be
no,
very
questions are
respectful.
super welcome. So thank you.
Okay, thanks. So the reason why I got to VR chat is because of social anxiety, which I wanted to practice a bit about transforming. But sometimes, even though I'm mindful, the emotion is really, really strong. And as much as I'm trying to transform it, it just doesn't go away. So my question is, do you have to brute force it, just keep trying, or am I doing it wrong and is there another way?
I wouldn't say wrong, but sure, there are other ways also that can help too. So the practice that you just walked in at the end of, we were doing this breathing meditation, which was training our inner self how to come to calm. So yeah, just brute forcing feeling okay while there's the social anxiety. Yes, you can generate it, and it'll be like this tug of war between the confidence and the reaction to the people. But what today's session about is to like step out of that tug of war. Come into the freedom where, hey, I'm going to be peace. Okay, and then when I'm the peace, then I bring that into the people. And we'll talk more about that throughout the session. But yeah, there's two main aspects to that. One is breathing meditation, like learning how to watch the mind and step out of the tug of war and bring your attention back into where you want it to be. And then when the anxious thoughts arise, being able to just go, hey, I'm really being present and choosing to practice calm now. And the more you practice that, the more powerfully you can bring that peace into different social circumstances. And yeah, while you're in a party or something, there's not always a chance to just stop and breathe. Maybe you're talking with some people. So yeah, it is a practice. Hopefully, even when things are busy, you can bring your attention into calm. But sometimes you're mid-sentence. So the more you practice this breathing meditation, the more you're able to snap into the peace, even mid-sentence while you're talking to someone. You like train your inner self to be able to choose where to be whenever you need. Another thing we do in sessions here that I'm not going to cover so much today is actually practicing how you want to be. So when you're not in a social circumstance, you spend a few minutes imagining how good it would feel to be around people and feel totally at ease and have a great time. And you train that good feeling into yourself. But yeah, the topic for today is this single-pointed awareness. So practicing being aware and being able to bring your attention in the moment. So yeah, I hope today's session of that practicing of noticing your attention is super helpful. And that idea of rehearsing is also helpful. And you can come back to other sessions here where we'll cover that more in depth. I loved that question because you see how it kind of put me on the spot. And I had to describe really how this practice is helpful. It's not just some idea. Like when the pressure's on, there's a conversation happening. How do you then be calm when your normal reaction was anxiety? So this practice of noticing your consciousness, when you first start, it might help. But when you practice more is when you've got that when you need it. So my hope is that as you are walking into a social situation, you notice your breath and you create a good state of mind, and you can just carry that with you into the thing. And then if you notice this tug of war in the mind between anxiety and calm, you then also notice it. And you can kind of mentally just step back a little bit and think, hey, I'm here. I want to have a nice time with them. I want to listen to them. And you kind of reset. And then the next level is being able to do it on the fly. Like if you're halfway through saying something or someone's asked you a question and put you on the spot, even then, notice your state of mind. It's totally okay to like take a breath. Just stop and like really compose yourself. How do you want to come across? So yeah, often anxiety or a lot of reactions is when we are kind of just caught up in it. And so this ability to just, in one breath, like step out and choose how you want to show up, that's a big part of it. And then you can also imagine you've trained your inner self on many levels, that your whole self is bringing this awareness and showing up the way you really want to show up. So yeah, that was a great question. And hey, everybody, these sessions, I don't want it to be me talking about ideas. You're here for this to be awesome for you. And the questions that make it helpful for you is what this session is about. So please, everybody, ask anything and everything you want to ask. Tazimo, you have a question?
Circling back around the question about appreciating plants and how they're grown. I appreciate mushrooms, but my palate absolutely can't tolerate them. It's kind of bad. Is there a way to change that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm just going to talk about food in general, and you can even generalize this out to music and cultures and art and everything. So most of the time, when we're eating not very mindfully, you eat something and like one flavor dominates. So something you like, you're like, there's that flavor I love in it. But if you look...
It's a texture thing.
Okay, let me expand what I'm saying then. So with flavor, if you stop and you look closely, there's actually lots of flavors inside everything. There's so many different molecules, and the ones that stand out to you might not even be the strongest. They might just be the one that have caught your attention over and over and over. And the same with the texture. There's the chewiness, and then there's in a mushroom there's like the different gills, and there's the shape and the way that it bites. There's so many different parts of the texture of every meal. And if you, rather than letting the thing that catches your attention dominate, if you just decide, hey, I'm going to just put my reactions aside for a moment and just explore the sensation. So like with flavor, you imagine a palette of flavors and go and you find the salty bit and the sweet bit, and there's this flavor and that flavor. And the same with the texture. If you go through and just find the different parts, you'll be able to find some parts that you like. And if you put your attention on that and train yourself that when you eat mushrooms, that is the thing that catches your attention, that will overtake the other bit. And you might even find over time that other bit then also starts to be nice. I'm going to give a slightly different example, but I hope, Tazimo, let me know if this, you can see how it relates. Growing up, I used to hate heavy metal music. It just sounded like aggressive and violent and bad. And then at university, I had some brilliant friends, and they were all really into heavy metal music. And I was hanging out at their house, and they're playing this really like intense music. And they were like, yeah, having a good time. And I was just like, suffering. Oh, why are you guys listening to this torture? And then I noticed, hey, look, they're having a good time and I'm suffering. Like, this is my brain program that is causing me suffering while they're having fun. And I tried to do this practice of like, okay, think heavy metal's good. And I just couldn't find it. But then I looked at them and I watched them and I watched the way they moved to it. And like, they were kind of pumping their body at the same beat to the music, which I never would have pumped or like danced ever to any of the styles of music at the same rhythm that you would to this metal music. But I watched them and I just copied them. And then suddenly I was like, oh yeah, this is intense. I love it. And I let myself just get into it. And suddenly I found the fun in it. And it's not like my favorite music. I don't go out of my way to like collect it these days. But when it's playing, I still enjoy it. And there's a few songs that I absolutely love. So this whole category that I just didn't like, I opened up to, and some of it I now love. So Tasmo, maybe you might, some of those ideas could be helpful. Exploring the palette of it. Find someone who loves them and like just pretend to be them for a few mouthfuls of it.
I don't know, I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
Thank you.
perhaps learn about the nutrition and think about that while you eat them, and let that be the thing that is in your consciousness. There's so many ways, so many other things that your consciousness could be doing while you eat it. So explore those others and find what works for you. Now, I also want to give a completely different answer. Everything I just said was like exploring different parts to find one that you're already liking. Every one of those different things, the different parts of the flavors, the different parts of the textures, the different ways of thinking about it, they are all within the confines of what your mind would already be doing. But when you're mindful, you're actually able to transform that. You could even look at that part of the texture that you totally dislike, and you could just imagine liking that texture. Now, I know there's this mental tug of war. No, of course I can't. That texture's horrible. But I like that texture. So something in your habit that doesn't. And it truly is an amazing thing when you practice taking something and just transforming how you react to it. Now, for everybody else, I hope that this is enlightening. Maybe mushrooms isn't helpful for you, but if you were to take that idea that you can change how you feel or react to any little detail on everything, think about it. That is enlightenment. If you were just to tweak bliss and joy onto every part of your life, the way a dog barks, the way the clouds move, the way you feel whenever anyone says anything, how you feel about the environment around you, how you are in each moment, if you were just to tweak it all to be blissful and beautiful, you can shape your experience of life to be enriching and gorgeous and easy. I'll just let that settle in for just a second, and then I'll come to you, Solarpunk. Tazimo, did that sound some things to try?
A good amount sounds like stuff I've already tried, but I heard some stuff in there that I haven't tried yet, so I'll put it into use and hope that next time I don't eat them, I don't gag.
Great.
Thank you.
So there's two things I want to add. One is before you eat them, find that inner peace. So that as you do it, maybe have the tiniest little nibble and decide that whatever reactions you have, you're just going to be mindful of them. It's your enlightened self that's going to go and have this experience. So rather than running with the reaction, you just notice the reactions and you be free. And also, with all the things that you tried, if I go back to what I was just saying, that like our minds, most of the time, are just kind of following the patterns that are in our minds. So something that you might have already tried, if you were to try it again, but let yourself imagine that you're amazing at it, that your mind is so transformative and empowered, you may be able to try it again and get a totally different result. Solarpunk?
Yeah, Neojex, I wanted to thank you for the suggestion last time when I was talking about the annoyance ladies with their tiny barking dogs on the trail that I walk on. And your suggestion was to sort of find the peace in the barking as I'm walking past them. And I started doing that. And it was interesting how I actually was able to attain almost an altered state of consciousness. It felt really good. It's almost like the gravity of sort of the first noble truth. It's almost the arahant sense of humor of finding that peace or even the beauty in the dukkha or the unsatisfactoriness and just the noise of the world around me. And it just felt very different, and I was totally okay with it. So it's just a nice feeling that achieved.
So some of you might love little puppy dogs, and some of you might find them like upsetting or annoying or even scary. And so if you were to imagine, if you were to go from them being not a nice experience to being a nice experience, how empowering or wonderful that would feel. So Tazimo, that could also be something that you could contemplate. Imagine if soon from now you were able to eat mushrooms and just enjoy them, like what a Buddha you might feel like. Or I remember the first time I transformed cantaloupe, I was having it in a juice that was diluted. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, I'm finding the flavors I like, and cool, now I like the juice instead of having to spit it out. And then that night, I dreamed about eating cantaloupe. And in the morning, I ran to the fridge, chopped up some cantaloupe and ate it. I never would have been able to do that in my life. I would have had to spit it out, maybe even vomit. And suddenly I'm just eating it and loving it. And I remember after eating a couple of pieces, just sitting back and like noticing what I was doing. And my brain just was like, I'm like Yoda. I'm like the master of the universe. So, Tazimo, I hope you have the same experience eating a mushroom sometime soon. A culinary mushroom. And
So do I.
Solarpunk, I'm so glad that the suggestion with the puppies was helpful, and that your walks continue to be blissful, and that transformation trickles through into all other parts of your consciousness, and you reach new levels of enlightenment and freedom.
Absolutely. I'm now looking to do this in other areas of my life. If anything annoys me or anything is slightly distressing, I'm going to look for the peace in it. That combination of peace and dukkha, all, as things are, the beauty of life and existence itself.
I'm so happy that something we shared was helpful for you. I think this is a really good time to do a little more breathing meditation. Now, some of you here were at the start and we did a couple of minutes of breathing. We're going to do a little longer this time. And in the context of everything we were just talking about, like noticing what your mind's doing and being able to step out of what's happening and just find your peace. Every moment of the breath, as we're sitting breathing, I want you just to feel that that's what you're practicing. Fate Magician?
Just a quick question. I've meditated, but I've had breathing issues for the last 7 years. So I just was curious, if someone has breathing issues, should I force myself to breathe really relax, or should I just roll with it?
Can you describe what the breathing issues are?
I've smoked a lot in my life, and I can barely have like 50 to 70% of oxygen in every breath. So it always feels like I'm short of breath.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. So what I want you to achieve is to have a single point of focus and for your breath to catch your attention. So when you're just sitting here, how are you breathing? When you're talking with us or listening to us? Through your mouth, through your nose?
My nose. Although again, it does feel a lot like I'm gasping for air.
Right. So I guess I would invite you to just breathe how you normally breathe. Maybe practice breathing just a little stronger, like practice expanding your lungs, getting a bit more oxygen. And yeah, I definitely want your breath to be a little more invigorating and relaxing than your regular breath. So fine tune it so that you're taking a deep, strong breath, but then make that happen in a way that's flowing and relaxing. You might have to start with them kind of strong, and then once you're in the rhythm of it, then you can just make it feel a bit better and make it feel a bit better.
Okay.
If I may contribute
Please.
on that thought, yes, I was finding something interesting about meditation recently.
Sorry to interrupt.
Fluffy Puppy,
Travis.
if you wanted to interrupt, go ahead.
No, I don't mean to. I just want to come start with our meditation.
Oh, cool. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. Indeed.
We're just talking about
so
what
I
the
found
practice
out
will be like, and we're about to do a meditation. And Solarpunk's sharing some ideas about how
meditation specifically.
Yeah, something to do about how we can use our breath.
And apparently, if certain meditation leaders say that if you are breathing with your upper chest, with your lungs, that activates, well, first of all, those are shallow breaths, and you don't get as much oxygen in, and that triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which is the very unhappy, hostile part of your body, your nervous system, which causes stress and can raise blood pressure. So they say to engage the parasympathetic nervous system and lower blood pressure and make the body feel better and cut down on stress. You want to breathe with your belly more, so try to lift up yourself and feel as if you're filling in your belly as you breathe in and out. And you're able to breathe longer this way too. And I think I've noticed that's a difference. In the past, I would notice my blood pressure going up actually from my meditation, and I could not figure out why. And then I've begun noticing this difference between breathing with your belly versus your upper chest. And it really seems like there's something to that. So just wanted to add that.
That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So 100% yes, if we breathe deeper and more expansively, it's good for our body and state of mind. The place I wanted most of us to be focusing on for this meditation is that point of entry. I might actually start this session by just getting good breathing habits, and then I'll invite all of us quite quickly to go back to that single point. Fate Magician, if you feel like you want to keep focusing on the abdomen breathing for a while longer, please. But the intention for this practice, the one I'm doing today, is this single point of just focusing on just that spot. So come back to that as soon as you can. All right, so let's dive straight into the meditation. I will give some tips and tricks, and let's just have this experience. So we're going to start with our posture. Just notice if you're sitting on a cushion or on the chair, feel your butt on where you're feeling the contact. If your legs are crossed, just notice the posture. If you're sitting on a chair, just feel the legs down. Feel the hips. And just decide that the legs can be still, comfortable. And then feel your spine and your neck and rock back and forward a little bit. And you can't really see me in VR doing this, but I'm flexing my body, folding forward and folding back. So just move your whole spine around. Just loosen it up. maybe roll it around. And then after you've done that just for a little bit, then let it become still and sit up straight and find a way of sitting where the balance feels really nice and all the muscles are lined up in a way that feels good. Feel your neck and stretch your head up just a little bit. Pull the shoulders back just a little bit. Bring the hands down into the lap. And then close your eyes and take a deep breath down into the belly. And as I do that, I feel my belly expand, and then it fills up into the chest as my whole body fills up with air. And then as you breathe out each time, just let the out-breath be soothing. But especially as you breathe in, really draw it down into the muscles in your abdomen. You expand the abdomen and then fill up the body with the air. So breathing in is that filling from the bottom, and breathing out is a feeling of letting go. And you can also notice how it feels. So as you're taking that in-breath deep into the belly, you can shape the feeling to be soothing, to be calm, to feel present. Each in-breath deep into the belly, bringing oxygen through your whole being. You can feel your whole self filling up with the breath, the oxygen coming through into your lungs, going through into your whole body. It's burning in every cell, literally powering every interaction in your body. And if you remember that intention that we set, that we're practicing awareness so that we are free in each moment, that we're practicing just every moment being able to step into this, hey, I'm choosing to concentrate on peace, freedom. Let each moment of the breath be that. And notice the breath coming in and out of the nose. And we're going to move our attention into single pointed awareness. Find that single point where the breath is most noticed, entering and leaving the body. Feel that point. Feel the cool breath in and the warm breath out. And imagine, bit by bit, every part of your consciousness is focusing on that point. You're feeling the point. Your sense of space is in that point. Where is the point? That's where your attention is. You're hearing the breath. All of your thought is just the flowing of each moment. your emotion becomes just the flowing peace of the breath. Your whole self is becoming just the breath. Now notice everything that's in your consciousness right now. How you feel, were you thinking anything? And imagine if all of that just all disappeared and all of you was just like on vacation, flowing in the breath, the peace and beauty of every moment. All your attention is in the breath. Imagine taking an enlightened breath. If you started to feel anxious, the next breath was just perfect peace, complete, total, all-encompassing peace. Imagine that being in the breath. Or imagine if you're starting to feel down, and then you put your attention into the breath, and it was just perfectly okay. Or if there's a yappy little dog, and the next breath was just perfectly present with the universe. In each breath you take, let it be infused with this perfect freedom, perfect bliss. Any moment you can just bring your attention into total nirvana. Each moment of the breath, you just practice that more and enjoy it more. Notice your consciousness and just let it all go. Go even more fully into just breathing each moment of the breath. All your attention into the peacefulness of every moment. everybody, just keep breathing. How wild it is that you can practice your attention to be bigger than anything. Treat every moment in meditation as a gift. It's always a chance to practice noticing your awareness, making your ability to guide your attention more beautiful and more powerful. Make each moment of your breath feel beautiful, feel enlightening. Imagine carrying this peace into every breath. We're going to have about 20 more breaths. So just put a gentle smile on your face. Be present with each breath. Enjoy whatever moments of peace or positivity that you felt, or that you practiced, or that you internalized. And if your eyes are still closed, I invite you, when you do open them, keep practicing awareness. Keep noticing your breath. Notice how different it is with the eyes open compared to closed. Notice what you decide to look at, or notice what you think. Keep noticing. And as I keep talking, also notice how you hear me. Notice what you think in response. So that was maybe 10 minutes to just breathe, to watch our awareness, to practice. And I hope that everyone had at least a couple of moments where the breath was really beautiful. Maybe some of you had very beautiful moments that lasted longer and got deeper. And I invite all of you to imagine, if you practiced every day, that a 10-minute breathe would have more and more longer, deeper, more beautiful, peaceful moments. And not just that the meditation will get more wonderful, but that then you'll have those moments whenever you need them through the day. In a social situation, you remember you need it, you take a breath and be peace. There's a yapping little dog. You hear that the dogs are singing to each other and the beauty in it. There's a mushroom. Just bringing that awareness and creating of the beauty in every moment into every moment. So we're just going to breathe for another minute, and I want you to imagine if what I just said wasn't just a nice idea, whether you bring your whole self to that every moment, every day. You bring all yourself into, I don't care about this being a Buddhist place, or I just want you to be your best self. Every moment, you bring your own peace, your own happiness, your own awareness. Imagine if you really crafted your consciousness, that you were free and you were blissful all the time. Imagine how beautiful that would feel. And yeah, it takes practice. But yeah, bring that enthusiasm and love into every moment.
Beautiful.
Imagine having ease and joy and love that you just give to your friends. And as you practice, you notice different perspectives, and then you're able to share them with people in ways that change their life. It's so beautiful that what you can do with your awareness. So in a moment we're going to move from meditation into discussion. But just for the last part of this meditative moment, I invite you to give yourself a hug or bring your hands into prayer, whatever would feel better for you. Give yourself a hug and just look around and give a smile and a positive well wish to everybody here. And now, for those of you who are newer to meditation, finding a bit of peace and calm is great. And for someone who's been practicing a lot and they've seen like levels upon levels of greater ease and bliss, like profoundly transforming our mind is possible. Beautiful states of bliss that are feelings that are better than we have words for. You can find them and you can cultivate them. And transforming stuff that you didn't even know was possible to transform. It's not only possible, it can be at a point where some of those transformations are just obvious. And that's why I do these sessions. My wish for you to have this bliss and to bring your best self as much as possible into every moment as possible. And we just keep encouraging each other for that more and more, finding great practices that are helpful with it, ideas that will stick in our mind that we can carry, that help us with it, perspectives that change how we see things, that just come with us and change how things are for us, practices that make us be able to guide our consciousness differently. I see every one of you, and I see the enlightened being inside of you. I'm just trying to give that part of you the attention and the encouragement that it needs. Enlightenment, what does that mean? I mean, I see the part of you that is wise and easeful and happy and free from any of the mental chatter and able to just choose how you want to be. Your fully expressive self. That's who I see. That's who I'm doing this for. and any of the mental habits and stuff that hurts, all I have for that is love. I just want to let you like fly away from that and be this consciousness, be this freedom. You know, I used to have social anxiety and it wasn't nice at all. And being able to just go and talk to anyone and have a good time with everyone, it's great. And I wish that for the whole world. And the same with sadness or reactions that aren't nice to situations. Like the freedom and the ease that we can cultivate is beautiful. And I hope that that's lighting a fire inside of you of excitement to spend the time to practice 10 minutes breathing a day. And then as you're going into different situations, 3 seconds of breathing to like remind yourself of it. And as you notice your different attitudes to different scenarios or to mushrooms or to anything, just noticing them, stepping out, being free to like try different states of mind on. And not just think about different states of mind. Try them on at your core. You notice as you're breathing, you kind of like feel a bit deeper. And the more you practice the breathing, the more deeply you're able to change and be empowered. You might have noticed the idea of single pointed breath. It's like rather than just sort of letting the mind wander, this was I'm choosing where my attention goes. It's like taking that deeper empowerment through your whole self. And you might not think, oh, that was not my whole self, but it is the practice that will get through to the whole self. And some of you already can imagine what it would be like for your whole self to be free, or you've had time where it's like that. And if that sounds kind of abstract or far out, I invite you to try and imagine what it'd be like. Not only do I transform how mushrooms are, I transform how I experience all food, that it's like all just pure powering my body in delight. Or you can think of every part of your life, how you could apply awareness to design how you want to be. Hey Fluffy, I just want to say thank you for all your little giggles and enthusiasm. It's been such a nice little addition to today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. This is actually I'm actually delighted to even be in this session. I just started meditation just like a couple minutes ago, and I'm feeling quite relieved. This is just amazing. I love this. This is great.
It can be life-changing, although it's really hard to keep up with sometimes.
Right.
Well, we have this session every Monday. For me, it's Monday evening, wherever you are in the world. We started about an hour and a bit before you arrived, Fluffy. So it's every Monday. Please keep coming. Having a community to practice together is so good. And that's the session that I run. But we have hundreds of people in our Discord, in our community, and a bunch of different teachers, and they run different sessions throughout the week. And sometimes people in the group who aren't the teachers, they'll just say, hey guys, I'm going to the temple, and they'll come and they'll sit together, or they'll like come and talk about this idea of single-pointed awareness, or what is it to practice kindness meditation, or they'll do a laughter meditation. Like supporting each other really makes the whole journey better. Like for me, one of the things that drives me most is I imagine a world where everybody's meditating, and every bit of our culture has snapped out. Like if we were talking about social anxiety. If you look at our culture, how many like bad habits are there that are caught up in people's minds? It's unbelievable when you look at it from the eyes of, hey, what would we be if we chose? And so I imagine a world where everybody's living in that freedom and helping each other with it all the time. And for us to get to the whole world doing that, this is why we have these communities. We as a community get awesome at it, the community grows, and ultimately I want everyone to have a community like this. So Fluffy Puppy and everybody, please come again. For those of you who come regularly, it's such a joy for me. When I hear stories that have been really, with something we shared was super helpful for you, I love it. And even if I don't hear those stories, I know that it's going to be helpful for you, or it's already been helpful and you just haven't had a chance to say it. One of the things I hope you all find encouraging is every now and then someone will come up to me years after I'd seen them. I've traveled a lot, and maybe I was in a certain place for some months, and then years later they connect and they're like, hey, I never told you, but during those few months, all the stuff you said, at the time, it was alright, but it sunk in. And I started practicing more and seeing things from this different perspective, and it's totally changed my life. And I want you to know that any positive idea that you hear here, let it be open to the idea that it will sink in, and it will be way more helpful than what you're even thinking now. It's like planting seeds in a garden. When the garden gets enough seeds, it just like becomes amazing. And every one of these helpful ideas, maybe it doesn't even sound helpful yet, you're not really sure how, but it's like the infrastructure to grow fruit vines on, and you're making your mind more delicious and more amazing.
Right.
Someone on the live chat just before we started meditating, I think it might be Girani. Girani, it's a pleasure to have you. Oh, that's someone on Twitch. Oh, we've got another Colombian. Okay, to the RSS feed, Twitch person said Colombian food actually has fruit juices right on the menu a lot of the time, and cantaloupe is a good fruit. So whoever you are, I'm glad you like the cantaloupe story. To those of you who already love cantaloupe, just think about how much I missed out on. All those fruit salads as a kid that I had to spit out. I just missed out on them. But thankfully I learned how to love it. And so now the world is more delicious. Tazimo, one day we have to go out for a big field mushroom burger together. They're so good.
I'll consider it.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's see. We have about 10 or 15 minutes left. I would love to anyone to share like nice feelings they felt or nice moments, but also really important is any questions anyone has, or anything about like, hey, how would I apply this more? Or perhaps you do want to just say to everyone, hey, I'm going to try and do 10 minutes breathing meditation a day. Or that idea, I can see how that was helpful and I want to practice it. Like making that affirmation, saying it out loud, people find is really helpful to like make the internal power to keep it going. So yeah, nice feelings you want to share, questions you have to ask, or like affirmations you want to share. I'm opening it up to everybody. Fate Magician.
My breath is not annoying anymore, and it's really weird because I still have problems breathing. But it's really weird the way attention and the mind works, because even though I do have the problem, it's not bothering me anymore. It's only because of that single-minded focus. It's alright. I feel like that too, to be honest.
Alright.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? So simple and so beautiful at the same time.
Thanks for that.
You're very welcome. Please keep coming.
Mm.
Fluffy Puppy?
Yeah, this is just something that I've had on my mind for quite the longest of times, and this has just been eating up at my mind, but is there any way that you believe that meditation is the preparation for death? Because it sounds like it is a possibility to prepare yourself for the happening of death.
So the answer is definitely yes. There are whole schools in some of the different countries' meditation traditions that talk about how meditation can be preparation for death. Generally, my approach is to just be in the moment and just always be present with what is. I've stayed in temples where they have a skeleton hanging up on the stage of someone from the community. They donated their body, and every breath the people take, they're acknowledging that at one point their body's going to be eaten away, and that's okay. That's the way the world is.
Right.
There's the Tibetan
I
book of the
believe
living and dying, which is a bunch of practices around preparation for dying. In terms
if
of...
I may add,
Yes.
I forget the name of the state of meditation, but the last state of meditation on the path to enlightenment is a state where you reach enlightenment even in death, and the body endures. So, yeah, I guess in a way, yeah, it is preparing.
So the thing that you just described sounds like something that maybe some of the lineages teach. I mean, that's hasn't been one of like the main things on my journey. But yeah, Fluffy Puffy, of all the different cultures around the world that practice meditation, they use it for many different things. And obviously people dying is like a big part of life. So there are lots of different attitudes and perspectives people have around it. I think the main thing that I've found in my life is when somebody dies, how can I be a source of love and peace and strength for the community as we deal with the person's passing? And in Buddhism, they talk about there's acceptance, like being present with what is, and if you're not accepting, you're probably in some form of suffering. And in Western psychology, they talk about the 8 stages of grieving, like denial and anger and I mean, I don't care about those stages, so I've forgotten what they were, but they end up with acceptance. So basically what I try to do when I've had like a couple of my best friends died, I try to start with acceptance. Okay, in the reality I'm in now, they don't exist anymore. So now what do? All I have left is all these great memories, everything they taught me, the friends that we made together, and these friends who are probably caught up in other stuff right now. I want to give them love. I want to help them remember the great memories. And, you know, there are people who lose someone and they'll spend the rest of their life focusing on the pain of the person going. They could just as easily spend the rest of their life celebrating how lucky they were to have this awesome person in their life. But because of the way they take their attention about that person, they get a completely different experience. So my general approach with passing is to try and help everybody be in love with the person and celebrate them as a community. Remember the good stories. I mean, if they were here looking at us, they wouldn't want us to feel sad when we think of them. They want us to be happy when we think of them. So I think that's the way it's helped me most, is as a community, how to continue to be in joy and love when somebody passes. And as for us personally preparing, I really think the best thing is just be wildly alive as much as you can. Be present, be enthusiastic, be loving, be caring. And each moment you'll bring your best to it. Fate Magician?
Just to add to the topic, one of the things of meditation that I've noticed myself and that I've noticed in masters is that the more you meditate, there's this certain intuition that you become aware that you're not the body or the mind, and it's not the end when you die. So, for instance, there was this master that he was about to die, and their disciples were very concerned about that. And said, "Master, you're going to leave, you're going to go." And he said, "You fools, I'm gonna be here forever." So there's like a different relationship with death at that point. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts about that, Neojax.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Wow.
So, at some point in my life, I did think that I would continue after I died. But I actually now I'm pretty sure my consciousness, just like my brain, is going to just fade away. And I'm completely okay with that. But I also think that that master was also correct, because that master was just here in this room now telling his story through Fate Magician. And he was completely in the lives of his students for many generations. And if you think of the universe as like, you know, all these things that are going on, every person that you've impacted, that will ripple on through for the rest of forever.
Like
we continue to
never-ending
exist
ripples.
through our impact on the universe, even if our consciousness doesn't. So maybe there is some afterlife or something. I used to spend a lot of time meditating on it, exploring all the religions to try and find it out. And ultimately, I've not seen any evidence that's conclusive. If there was, I don't think we'd all be disagreeing about what happens. And like I said, being present and being our best is actually the best strategy. We then make the world as beautiful as possible, and what we know will live forever, our impact on others, we then get to make that as beautiful as possible. So
I see consciousness as just like a tall tower, and then you just keep building and building the more you come to your own realizations that you can stay affirmated on about the world as they remain like following truth, of course.
Thanks, Lemon Wire.
Like you could always practice being more in tune with the world.
If I go back to
I
that
still
idea of how things last, perhaps some of us may have had grandparents that are no longer here, but they are still here. Every day you think of them, they're firing off in your brain, in your consciousness. But then what about your great-great-grandparents? Maybe you don't even know some of their names. But you know what? They were firing off in the mind of your grandparents, and how they felt and how they talked was there, and so they are in you. You might not even know it's them. And, you know, I hope it's obvious that mindfulness and meditation has deeply transformed my life. And for the first few years of practicing, I didn't go to any temples. I just read some really good books. And I'm not really into temples. And, you know, I said I had a decade of wildly exploring all the religions, but I'm not really into religion. But I remember one of the first big, beautiful Buddhist temples I went to, there was this marble Buddha. And something about it just caught me. Like I was looking at that dude from thousands of years ago. And it just hit me. He did mindfulness meditation and kindness meditation. And he shared it with hundreds of people. And they shared it with thousands of people. And they shared it with millions of people. And then a few of them wrote some books that hit me and transformed my life. And I just like got down on my knees, just cried with so much gratitude for this one dude. It's just like a dude. And he changed my life thousands of years later. And I was just filled with so much love for it. And I hope every one of us can have impacts on people that carry on. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you. I've been coming to this temple for a while now, but always on my own. I've never had the luck to come here on a meditation session. So this is the first time I participate in one of these, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I'm really glad you guys are here. Yeah, like I said, the one I run is this time each week, and it's almost always me, unless like it's something really big that I have to go to or something. And then there's a schedule outside where we have the other teachers do things throughout the week. I would encourage you to come as often as you can, and I would love you to come to my session. Each of the teachers has different perspective. They'll help in different ways. Sometimes our teachings even contradict a little. So I hope that you can find the most empowering truth from each of them. And yeah, as a community, we're all learning. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So please come to those sessions, come to this session, and yeah, I'm glad to have you here. Robican on YouTube just said to us, fruits are good, meditation is good. Enjoy both as often as you can. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah.
Agree.
Let me check the time. All right. I think it's time for us to have our dedication, which is just a ritual that some meditation groups do, and the person who started this community, Zenkai, he runs the Monday morning session. He set up some of the main traditions that we follow. So we start the session with setting that intention, and we finish the session with a dedication. It's kind of like wrapping the session in a bow. So I just invite everybody to stop and reflect upon what you practiced and what you learned. Maybe even some of the things you learned or practiced may keep transforming you or keep getting bigger and better and more powerful. Maybe some of them you'll have to keep thinking about or keep meditating. 10 minutes breathing a day. Thinking about freeing your mind. Practicing noticing your mind and stepping out and transforming. Maybe there's some little ideas you heard, some little feelings you were exposed to that'll just be carried on with you. Just appreciate it all. Like a delicious gift you've given yourself. But then let's dedicate it. Dedicate it to your future you. The you that is free and blissful and enlightened. The things that need to be practiced. Like, love that. Cherish it. Wow, every day I get to give myself 10 minutes of peace and love and joy, and it will just get better and better. Wow, it's beautiful. Look at the you in 20 years from now, and all the freedom and love and empowerment you want to give them. Dedicate everything from this session to that. And then think a little broader. Think of this whole community. Dedicate this session. Dedicate your practice to bringing more joy and love and happiness and friendship to the whole community. And then think of the whole world. And imagine if everybody just stopped. All the other habits, we just breathe them all away. And then we all chose total love, joy, ease, the world that we would create. I invite you to dedicate this session to creating that enlightened world. And as we walk out, I invite you to have a moment with the Buddha at the back of the room. Maybe you'll think of the dude. Maybe you'll think of the enlightened being inside everyone. Maybe you'll think of the great wisdom that you've been exposed to. Just have a moment there with them. And then we'll meet outside the temple. Let's just wait in silence until everybody's out there, and then we'll begin the social part of tonight's session.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You okay, Tony?
Okay, everybody, the live stream camera's just in the door, so let's all go in a little closer and give a bow to all the beings who will ever watch this. Everybody in close? May you find beautiful peace in each breath, and may we create that world where we stop all the negative habits. We stop everything and become pure freedom, bliss and love.